Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a recent read video. So basically stuff that I read in March that wasn't in my half wrap up or my Trans Rights Readathon vlog. So first I read the 15th volume of The Ancient Magus Bride by Korei Yamazaki. The concept of this series is the Ancient Magus, this guy, bought Chise from auction of magical creatures. That part's very weird, but basically she's his apprentice, learning to be a mage and having lots of adventures, and they have a little weird romance between them. We progressed pretty far in the story as this is the 15th volume, so we've had several arcs going on, and it's medium dark fantasy, some horror-y, body horror especially type vibes going on with different stuff that happens, but I really like the characters. 4 stars. Then I listened to the audiobook of Everything is Trash But It's Okay by Phoebe Robinson, and I highly recommend the audiobook for this book because the author narrates it herself, and she is a comedian, and the way she delivers the lines is much more lively and with more personality than somebody who's reading someone else's work, and she also adds in bits that aren't actually in the book. Yeah, I really enjoyed all of that. So this is a collection of essays. Some about feminism, some about money and like her journey of making money not be her enemy and have it be just a tool that she used. And a lot of them were just funny anecdotes and how it's difficult to be a female comic, and how it's sort of a boys club. Yeah, it was just generally a really good time. 4 stars. Then King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This I heard about a few places, especially on TikTok. There are a few monster romance connoisseurs who I follow on there, and this is a vampire romance. And it has little bits of wanting to be an epic fantasy, but that's very much in the background, I feel, as opposed to the romance. Like, it frames the romance and makes the angst between the characters make sense, because this is sort of arranged marriage deal where the vampire king wants to marry her. She's the princess of another kingdom, and he will make peace with her kingdom if she marries him. Everybody wants her to use being close to him to assassinate him, and she's been raised to think that vampires are horrible monsters. Yeah, it's a very angsty relationship, and I really enjoyed the back and forth of that, and I think I gave it 4 stars. And I started reading the second book, but that one is getting more into the fantasy plot, and I just feel it isn't as well done as the angsty romance parts were, which have mostly been resolved at this point. It's like queen of something and something, so I ended up DNFing that one. But I am interested in starting, this author has 2 other series, so I'm interested in starting those to see if like I'll just like the first book of those like I did with this one, or if I'll like the whole series. Either way, even if I just enjoyed the first book, I enjoyed this first book enough that I would like to read those. Then I got an arc of Gwen and Art Are Not in Love from NetGalley by Lex Croucher. This one is set after like at least 100 years, maybe 200 years after Camelot and Arthur and Lancelot and Guinevere. It is about the princess Gwen being engaged to Arthur, who's a fairly minor noble, because his family is supposedly descended from Camelot Arthur, and his father kind of leads a cohort of people who believe that Arthur will be reincarnated and stuff, and the current king kind of leads the Catholic faction, and so he's trying to make peace with who are called the cultists, who believe in Arthurian magic, by having this marriage. The problem is, both Gwen and Art are gay. Gwen has a crush on a lady knight. is so adorable. And Art has had various crushes on various guys and ends up having a crush on Gwen's brother. Yeah, it was a little hard to get into. For the first 30%, the two sets of love interests don't interact a lot with each other. Just Gwen and Art interact a lot with each other, and they don't like each other and kind of mean to each other. And so there's a lot of establishment of their characters and their difficulties without them getting to interact with the love interest, which is mostly a romance. So that's like what I was most there for. And it is nice to have characters be established separate from how their relationship is going, but I like that establishment to take like maybe 10% of the book, not 30% of the book. But once they started interacting with their love interests, I got much more into it and really enjoyed it. So it's a lot of the politics of living in this homophobic society. Things are pretty bad if people find out that you're gay, and so there's a lot of our characters dealing with the fears of being found out and trying to think of a future where they could possibly live openly. And I really loved where things ended up going, and I really ended up loving the relationships between all of the characters. And there is stuff about how finding other queer people is like really valuable and makes you feel seen, and I gave Gwen and Art Are Not in Love 4 stars. Then To Catch a Raven by Beverly Jenkins. This is the last book in the Women Who Dare trilogy, which I really enjoyed the first 2 books of. This is about a woman who is part of a crime family who mostly swindles rich white people in order to set up their family and have enough to provide for all of their family members. And a man who's very straight-laced, but whose father used to be associated with this family, and he gets roped into having to help a Pinkerton woman recover a stolen copy of the Declaration of Independence alongside this woman from the crime family because of his father's past associations, and they fall in love. And it's quite fun. It's about 2 people who are very different finding common ground, and as usual I love the romance aspects of Beverly Jenkins' work, so I gave To Catch a Raven 5 stars. So those are my recent reads. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a bird for Raven, who is the main character of To Catch a Raven, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!